Going live, and I think we're live. Perfect. Welcome to the React JS event. Sorry for the small delay we had, but we're right now ready to start. And this event is super awesome because it's one of my favorites. We're going to be learning React JS, a web development library. Some people confuse it with a framework. It's actually a library which is used to build web applications. One of the interesting features about this is that it is a single page application rather than multi-page applications. What we've seen, like in previous sessions, if you are part of my community on Code Academy, you've seen that we built web applications with Django, which is using multi-page architecture, but this is a single-page architecture library. And I know if it's not familiar to you, I'll explain everything about it. But before all of this, I just want you to know that if this is a beginner-friendly event, so anyone who has no knowledge of React or anything in JavaScript, then this is also very easy for you to, come along and, just ask any questions. Please be actively participating in the chat. Write down your questions there, and I'll be here to respond to them. If you have any issues or concerns about the audio or anything, let me know in the chats. I'm reading your questions. Just let me know what about the, the questions if you have or anything. Please let me know in the chats. I'm actively looking into it. So I think so far, I think we're good. Questions there, and I'll be here to respond to them. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is first I'm gonna actually just in my Code Academy chapter, just gonna go there. So community.codeacademy.com, and this is my React.js event, which I'm sure you all RSVP'd. But just let me know, where are you from? Are you from the Code Academy chapter? Or you came from the YouTube channel? Where did you find this event? You could let your chats be written in the thing in the chat box on YouTube. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go and create an email just to let all the RSVP people know that we are live, and then they could, just join in. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go here. We're going to go in the React JS event, and we're going to create a new email here. Audience is the people who have a virtual ticket this event, and we're going to say we are live. Uh, Join now, and just send in the YouTube link here. Anyone with familiarity on anything related to JavaScript or anything in particular, if you have any knowledge in React or anything in JavaScript, let me know in the chats. I see that one person came from Code Academy. Awesome. So that just was awesome. And I hope that other people are there too. Just let me know where you're from. Let me know any of your experiences of any programming related to React or anything. If you have anything, just let me know. Now, I'm all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get this link, which is the live event link, and share it to the chapter event people. So here we're just gonna share it and just scheduling it. And I'm thinking I'm just gonna send it immediately. So boom, we're done. And now let's get started. Okay, so like we said, React is a web library, and people get confused with the as a framework. So to build web applications, you normally need to know three different, let's say, languages. One is HTML, CSS, and then the other one is JavaScript. Now, the whole web browser, you can see that they're running JavaScript. And then there's a thing called um, the JavaScript runtime environment. Now, if I go to any kind of website, let's go to codecademy.com. Okay, so let's go here, and I'm just gonna load the page. And this is my, dashboard where you could see all of my courses that I have enrolled. But if I go to the Inspect tab over here, you can see that there is a bunch of Java HTML here on the right side. And if you could, I could actually make this a little bigger like this. I could just stretch it, and I could also see the styles that would have been applied here. And then there's just this console tab here, and you can see over here that there's a hi there. Where while you're here, how about popping over to careers? We're hiring for passionate, talented engineers. Oh, and then they have a message here on the console prompt. So you could just click here, and this is a secret, link. Not secret, but everyone knows that if you want a job, you could apply. And then you could see that there are 6 different opening positions in Codecademy, so you could check them out. And then there's this one as well. Amazing. But what we're gonna do here is you could just see that you could just type in some JavaScript code and it would be running inside of your Chrome developer options. Here you could see over here that there's some warnings. You just ignore these warnings, but like console.log, if I type in something like hello everyone, and then just press enter, you can see over here hello everyone has been printed. Now this is JavaScript working in the browser, but what if I wanted to run JavaScript outside of a browser? And that's when it comes really important when you want to create a web application. For that, now we need some of the dependencies for having our React app installed. So the first thing that we need is a VS Code environment to install, I mean run our write our code and all that. So if we could go to VS Code, I think it's not vscode.org, but it's actually just type in VS Code on Google and just go to VS Code, which is the website code.visualstudio.com, and install the latest version of a code editor. I would recommend Visual Studio Code, which is the best code editor out there. I'm personally using it and I really love it. So just have the code editor. I'm just sending the link here as well to install that. Remember, this is a hands-on session. I'm going to be updating everything on what I'm going to do and all that. So the next thing that we need is, remember I showed you that the JavaScript runs on the browser, but we actually need a runtime environment that we could run JavaScript without using a browser and just use it in our CLI command line or anything. So that is the thing that we need is Node.js. Node.js.org. This is the website to get the runtime environment Node.js, get the latest support version, LTS. I think it's called yeah, LTS, long-term support. Yeah, so this is the best version. So just download this. I have both of these things, so I don't have to install it. Just follow the setup instructions, and then you're basically added it to the path. Once you go here, you could just check if you have Node.js or and npm installed. So when you download Node.js, which is this runtime environment that allows you to write JavaScript code and compile it, you could actually, the more fancy way to say is that it interprets the JavaScript code. So just to make sure if you have Node.js installed and add it to your path, which is most important. It's okay if you're not, if you can't follow along at the same pace. You could just watch this video. This will have a recording, so you could go back and check any of the spots that you missed. So you could rewind, and once this live stream is finished, this recording will be available on YouTube, so you could watch it as long as you want, many times you want. So over here, what we're gonna have is Node.js installed, and make sure it's added to the path. And I installed it using the setup instructions, and it's pretty simple. And then at the end, what you have to do just to make sure that you have a Node.js installed, you could just do node hyphen version. And if you do this, you could see that I have version 18.15 and this is 8.16. So I have one version a little smaller, I mean a little older, but it doesn't really matter. And just install that. And when you install Node.js, actually you get a package manager. A package manager is a thing that you can install different libraries or packages. Just like in Python that we had pip, the Python package manager, which you could install so many different libraries all around the internet, and you just install them and include them with your programs. This is the same thing, but in JavaScript you have npm. So npm comes within Node.js. So if I just type in, let's say npm hyphen version, you can see I also have npm installed right there. Just have Node.js and then npm will be installed for you. Cool. Now let's create our React app. That's what we need, right? So what we could do is we could go in a folder. Now I created a folder called React project, right? So and I created a sample dummy folder, but I'm just gonna delete that and I'm gonna create a fresh new one. So this has a lot of things going on to it. It'll take some time to delete because I just had a React app created earlier. I just wanted to test out if it was working or not, but it works perfectly. But I'm just gonna delete it. In the meantime, you could ask your questions in the chats. Anyone have any questions? Um, you could please let me know in the chats. So I love that we have Lila and we have Christy. I'm sorry if you're not pronouncing it right, but I'm also happy that we have some people from Switzerland, and Iowa, and then we have one from Georgia, US. Awesome. I'm happy that everyone's there. Hoping everyone's interested in this. Please keep me updated on your progress. If you have any questions, update me. I'll be happy to address them. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I deleted that old folder, whatever I had, and I'm gonna create a fresh new page for my React project. I go to the command prompt. I just type in CMD. I open up in the same exact path. One of the best shortcuts, I know. So now I have different instances already running. So I'm just gonna keep one single command prompt window. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually install this React app. To do this, we're actually gonna use one thing. Which is pretty important is the React documentation. And if we could go to this website, which is it's called React.js, so reactjs.dev. I guess it's like this, or it's yeah, so it's actually react.dev, I guess. So yeah, so React.dev, this is the best reference point for learning React. I would recommend checking this out. And you can see over here that there are the documentation, how to, get a React app installed. You could add a video, and then there's components and all that. This is some fancy stuff like JSX, and I'll tell you what everything is. But it's just telling you how to get all of this working. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the references, and where we can see that there's hooks and all these components, APIs, and all these other things. But what we need is we just have to get a React app installed. To do that, we could just use create um, React app, and um, this is the website links to just allow us to view how to create this React app. So this is the code to get the React app. What we do is npx create React app. This is the command, and then after that we type in the name of the app that we want to use. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're just following this documentation, and we're just going to go one by one. Okay? It doesn't really mean that you need to know every single command or every single piece of code. It really doesn't matter. You just need to know the process, and everything else will be, the basic thing that you need to focus on is what you're trying to create instead of the things of like how to learn the commands or that. I would never encourage you to just start memorizing every single, piece of code. That's not the objective of learning how to program. Your objective has to be a little broader. You're just trying to, learn the process of how to create applications, which is more important. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to create a React app using one of the best, strategies is just go to that specific directory. Now, I could go to dir. Now you can see that I have nothing here, 0 bytes, means I have nothing in this folder. To view this folder, I could just go here and you can see that there's a blank folder, there's nothing in there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this React app, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to say npx, and then we have create React app, and then we give it the name of the app. So you can see over here in the documentation, we have npx create React app, and then we have the name of the app. And just give it a, simple name like my app. Now we're just gonna give it my app. Okay. So it's just going in one line. So let me just, yeah. So let's press enter, and this should create our React app for us. So there's a folder that's being creating, installing React, React DOM, and React scripts with CRA template. Now this is happening. It will take some time. Um, so just wait until this whole package is actually not downloaded. Now there's actually a difference between npm and npx. I was hoping if anyone could ask me. You could ask any questions in the chat. Remember, amazing. Hi Uzma, welcome to the stream. So the thing is, what you're gonna do is you're gonna check the difference between npm and npx. The difference between npm and npx is basically npm just says like you want to download the entire package, which is create React app, in your local hard disk, and then you're using npm, which is going to take so long to download from the internet, and then you're going to have it, in your temporary, let's say permanent reserve. You have create React app, which is actually a package that allows you to, create React apps. And npx, on the other hand, is something different. What is it like? It's like a borrow system. It's not like I'm completely downloading the React app package from the internet, but I'm just, borrowing it. I'm just downloading, the piece that I need, and I'm not putting it locally on my computer. I hope you understood this difference. And this is just going to take some time to have all of it installed. And it's almost there. So it installed these 1,434 packages. One thing that I wanted to not show you this downloading process, but yeah, no problem. You could just look at this, how it's created. And now check this out, happy hacking. We got it. That means we have it installed. What we do now is basically go one step inside of this directory, which have cd, and then once we go cd my app, if we go there, now we're inside of this folder. Okay. to improve this, I could do dir, and I have these, different files and folders inside. So we have a public and readme.md. I don't care what are these, you just have to just go with the flow. So what we do, I love this command, is code dot. To do this, it basically opens up the Visual Studio Code editor into that specific directory. So press enter, and now I opened up Visual Studio Code into that same specific folder that had all these folders. Now, to prove you, just double click, you can see all these files and folders. The most important ones I'm just going to discuss, and I'm going to show you what basically they all mean. Now, this is our basic React app, and the React app composes of these specific folders. So there are three folders. Here we have node modules. Now, these are the important packages that the React app needs to, need to have in order to make it working. Public is the folder of main concern, and source is another folder of main concern. These two folders are, the major, things here. And then the rest are just, I just recommend to ignore. Git ignore, you could just say by the name, just ignore it. This is, I'll just tell you the purpose is basically you're trying to ignore some of the things that you will be uploading on GitHub. So there's basically a link to this. What happens is that you can see that node modules, this thing, is basically being ignored. So whenever you host it on GitHub, all of your dependencies and packages that the React app needs to have are not going to be shown to everyone around the world. They are just going to be separated. So whenever someone wants to run your application, he just has to type in a command called npm start, npm run start. These commands work. So npm run build also works. So just type in these commands, and the node modules folder will be automatically created. It doesn't have to be. So I could just delete it. So I could just delete this folder, npm node modules. And if I ever type npm start, it will just create this node modules folder for me because I need these for my React app. Other than that, we have the source, we have this git ignore. I told you package.json is just telling you about and walk are just telling you about the dependencies and the versions of what you have. So React version, you have 18.2 and React DOM and web scripts, whatever. We have all these versioning and everything we don't need. Readme.md is just a markdown file of how this will look in your GitHub README if you want to show it all there, and then that. So the major concern is the public folder. What I told you, I'm just crossing that out. Index.html is the major folder, which is just showing you, like in public, if you ever had experience in web development, let me know in the chats who has experience in web development. Anyone know how to, you know, does anyone in the in the stream knows how to create websites? Let's say, is anyone familiar with HTML, CSS, JavaScript? Because I recommend having a little bit of familiarity in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then move on to React. Not just go directly to React, but have a little bit of knowledge of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, which is pretty important. But yeah, I'm just going to be checking in the chats. We can add this command from the terminal in VS Code, right? Just wanted to confirm. I think the command I think what you're talking about is, yes, there's also a terminal used for npm in VS Code. Yeah, so you just type in the command in the terminal and it would just pop up. After that, we have how many hours is this class going to take? It's just going to take 1 hour, okay? Just 1 hour of your time. It really is not going to take the whole day. Yep, thanks, Uzma. Yeah. So thank you, Uzma. Thanks for clarifying that concept. I really appreciate it. Um, Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create this app. We have this index.html file, and you could just ignore a lot of the comments and all that crap what you see over here. What you need is this root for this div. Now in this root we have this let's say div, we have this root class ID, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to enable this. This is where all of React code will be rendered. Other than that, this is just your your skeleton of your index.html file. Whenever you open up a website, you'd see the index.html file is the basic homepage of a website. So this is our homepage of a website, and I'll show you how it works. These are some logos that the React app is going to use, and I'm going to show you how it's going to be looking like. We have the source, and this is where all of this thing will be rendered. But I'm just running it. So npm start. If I type in this, it's gonna run. It's gonna take some time, but boom, it opens up in a new directory. It's gonna and then there it is. This is our React app. This is working. This is the like the basic hello world of React app. You just have it working, functioning in your computer. And if you look in the command prompt, if I see over here, it says webpack compiled successfully. And you could also if you're connected to the same Wi-Fi, You could also view this on your mobile application or any tablet, whatever you have. You could view this, and then you could just like, if there's some applications that you're creating, definitely now you're creating applications for both type of devices, for mobile devices as well as for desktop applications. So you could also view this through your mobile applications by just typing in this on your, phone. But make sure to have the same internet connection connected so that you could view that. Other than that, you're golden. What we have here is Learn React. This is the link to, I guess, the React.dev, which is the documentation of React. I could change this text as well. So you can see over here, Learn React. Let's change it up. Let's go over here. You can see over here, there's this title, React App. And this is the index.html file. Remember, I told you. Now, where's this code, which is this thing? Where's this logo and where's this text, what I showed you? This, Learn React. Where is this? I'll tell you where it is. So it's not in the index.html because this is the basic template, but it's actually using something over here in the source folder. So I'm going to go in the source folder and I see there's this app.js, okay? And then there's this index.js. Now, this is basically the entry point of our application. What's going to happen is that it's rendering this component called app. Now, where's app? It's actually app.js, this thing, app.js. This is the thing. So what's happening? Remember I told you that this public index.html has this root folder, this ID div, which has the ID of root, right? So what happens is that the entry point, which is the index.js, uses that root. You can see over here, document.getElement by ID root. So that div, that pesky root, pesky div root, is being captured by this React DOM.create root, and then it's stored in this root. And then what we do, we render the app component. Now, where's this app component? It's actually in the same single folder. It's in this folder, which is app.js. This is the app component. And this is that component, what you're seeing on the screen. This thing. This whole thing is a component. Now, React is beautiful because it has this architecture where it allows you to reuse components. You could use this component multiple times inside of a single application. And you could use this in a different application as well. So you just need to import the components. That's why it's called the component-based architecture. Now what we have here is we have this logo, which is being imported, logo.svg. Well, where's this svg? You saw it before. I just showed you somewhere. And then app.css. So we have here logo.svg, and we have this app CSS file, which has the CSS code. And then what we have here is, let's say, this thing, function, app, and then this thing. So one thing I want to tell you about React is that there are two different component types, okay? One component type is called function-based components, which is this one, and then the other one is called class-based components. Now, class-based components the older versions of React use class-based components, and they're still used, not now. They're still being practiced and being used, but function-based components are a little more easier and they're more popular, so that's why now React comes with function-based components by default. And you could also include class-based components. There are different categories for this, but this is a function-based component, and its name is called app, and that's what we use there in the other file you already saw. So what we have here is we have this return, and this thing is the thing that might confuse all of you. You might be saying, well, this is a .js file. The .js file means that it's actually a JavaScript file, but why do I see HTML code inside here, right? But this thing over here is not actually HTML. This thing over here is not actually HTML. This is something else, and this is called JSX. Yeah, JSX. It's called JSX code. Now, JSX code is actually a combination, let's say, of HTML and a little bit of JavaScript, okay? It is, let's say, 95% HTML. Okay, and then there's just, let's say, 5% of JavaScript. So it's just a combination. Now it allows you to, use JavaScript within your HTML code. That's why it's called JSX, just a fancy name. And there's differences like in HTML you don't have to write class name it. You just have to write class. So there's in JSX it's like that. And then there's these. You could also write JavaScript code inside. So with whatever's this in square these I would say parentheses have this logo thing inside. So these are called braces. I'm sorry. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna have some logo inside. Where's this logo coming from? This thing, logo. So we put this image, image source logo, class name, app logo, alt logo, and this is the logo that is coming from the same, logo.svg, this thing. So it's actually an SVG. Scalar vector graphic, that logo that you're seeing. And then what we have is edit. This edit code, if I go here, let me just put this in the doc over here and just show you in the one. Now what we have here, let's just put this one down and we have this paragraph edit. You see this edit there? We have that. And then we have this anchor tag. We have this thing, which is going to this React, documentation. You can see over here, it goes to reactjs.org. Okay, perfect. Now what we have here is learn React. You could also change this up. So I could say learn React with coding cleverly. Okay, and I'm just changing the text for this link. And what I'm just going to do is I'm going to save it. Once I saved it, you can see it automatically changed here, and now it says learn React with coding cleverly. Okay, so now we have this there and header done. So where's this header tag closing? It's closing here, and then there's this div class. One most important thing that I want to show you. I could show you one thing. I'm doing side by side so you can see the difference here on the left side and the code on the right side. So one thing that I want to show you is that this return function is actually returning the single HTML tag, this div opening and div closing, and this name is called the app. Okay, but what if I wanted to return two different HTML components? Like suppose if I wanted to have this h2 element and I would say hello there. Okay, what I do if I save this, you can see that I have this compiled with problems. Oh my God, there are so many errors. I'm just gonna know that actually it says over here to me that there is some indication here. And if I go down here, you can see over here, it says over here line number 7, and we're close there, line number 7, yeah. So we're here, parsing error. Adjacent JSX elements have been wrapped in an enclosing tag. Did you want a JSX fragment? That's what it's asking. Now this is the difference. You can only return one single HTML tag. This is an entire HTML tag, which is having this div and then this div close. Think of it as a parent div. It's not the nested child. These nested childs don't really matter. The parent div has to be, enclosed all together, and we could just call this as a single HTML tag. So if I add in another tag, it wouldn't allow me to do that. But one thing that allows me to do that is JSX fragment. Now this is what people would use. If you want to add more HTML tags and try to render that on your React application, you could use this type of let's say style. And if I go here and I have this opening and closing over here and save it, you'd see the same thing. But let's say if I type in h2 heading, press enter. Wait a minute. So I don't have actually some extensions installed, but I'll just tell you later. So h2. It still doesn't work. So I'm just gonna close it around. You can see it adds the most recent one. That's just a beauty of code editors. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna type in, let's say, hello there. Okay, just something, and save it. Now you can see over here, hello there is popping up there, and it's not looking nice or anything, but I'm just showing you the point that you have two different HTML tags, JSX tags to be more specific, being rendered through your React application. This is just a rendering part. It returns this thing, and I told you where it returns it. Returns it and puts it in the index.html, which is right here. This div ID root section is where it's being all populated, and it's being helped with JavaScript. So it's being rendered with JavaScript, and you can see these two tags being popped up here in my browser. Any questions so far? Just let me know. I'm going to view the chats, and then after that I'm going to move on, proceed to the next step. Let's see. I'm going to go to the chats. Okay, so we have it in the stream. Okay, so what we have is okay. Oh my God. So for 1 hour, yes, I do have experience. I worked on Angular. Awesome. We have one person who has been working with some other technologies. Pretty amazing. Anyone else? We have an Angular developer. Now the thing with Angular is that it's a complete framework, and what React is, it's actually a library. But nowadays, what's happening is that people are so good in React, and that React is super efficient that it allows you to now to allows you now basically it's competing with Angular because of its popularity and because of the things that it just comes up with. It has so many different things that it could do, which Angular could do, but React could do it a little more faster and more efficient, I guess. But in different use cases, I wouldn't just say this is better or that. You have different conditions or different, let's say, requirements or specifications where you would like to use this kind of framework, or where would you like to use this type of library or whatever. So Angular is good in its own cases. React is good in its own cases. So, yeah. So let's just move on from there, and let's go to the next phase. Now what we're gonna do is actually we're gonna remove all this, this thing. This is just boilerplate. We want to show our own code. So to do that, let's just remove all of this. Now remember that JSX fragment I included here. This opening and closing has nothing. Just leave that there and delete this entire thing. Save. Now you can see over here. There's nothing here. It's a blank screen. What we're gonna do is let me just dock that again on the right side and just move it here. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna type in something. Let's include a nav bar. Trying to include a navigation bar. So nav bar, uh, and some of the extensions, there are so many type of extensions, but I would recommend joining my Discord server. I'm going to give the link to the Discord server. Remind me at the end and I'll share the Discord server link. You could join there and I'll provide useful things like cool extensions that you would love to install on your Visual Studio Code that would really make the process faster and all that. But yeah, navbar here, and let's say item, I think it's like this. So list item, and let's say code, and you could see it pops up here, and then you could just say like that. I just added, different type of navigations, and then you would say, let's say if I want to, let's say a section, so I would say div container, and this wouldn't work because I don't have one thing installed, and that's called emmet. So let's just get this installed first. Go here, go to settings, it should be over here, and then search for emmet, um, emmet. And now if we're here, we could go here, include languages, or let's say include an extension path. I think it's here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna say JavaScript, okay, in the value, and we say JavaScript React, I guess. So I hope that's correct. I think that's correct. So JavaScript, and we have JavaScript React. Let me just check that out, double check it, and I think that is correct. I'm just gonna press OK and see if it works. So and let's just type in that thing what we're trying to do. Div dot container. Oh yeah, seems to work. And now what we could do is we could basically autocomplete. It makes it faster, development process. You could just quickly type in code, fast. So I just needed a div that had the class name container. I could just type in div.container and it'll give me this container. Now what do I want in a container? Let's go back here. Let's go here. Okay. And let's just put in some heading over here. Let's say this is a heading. Okay. And now you can see that heading over there. Let's put a paragraph. Let's say paragraph, and let's say lorem ipsum. Now you guys just type in lorem, and this should populate some text here. And there you go. We have some text here as well. Looking really ugly. Yeah, but I just wanted to show you the process of how this is done. Now what we're going to do is basically use some bootstrap and allow us to use a cool navigation bar instead of this ugly looking navigation bar. I hate this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to bootstrap.org. So we're going to go is get. So I just type in bootstrap. Let's say bootstrap. And this is just it's normally called, let's say, open it up. And it's basically a free open source CSS framework, and it's just used for creating components quickly. You don't have to type in all that. It just allows you to copy paste stuff and get amazing things. So docs, go to docs, and let's go and use something called a navbar. So we go here and customize, looking for a navbar. So reboot, overview components, accordion. Trying to look for a navbar. Oh wait, I just saw it. There. So what we have here is the navbar, and you could just scroll down here. Okay, before using a code, before copy pasting, you'd have to do one important thing. So you would have to include Bootstrap CDN in your index.html file. You know that file that I showed you, that main file? So you have to include that over there. So it's just basically over here, get starting. If you go over here, you see over there, include CSS and JavaScript. And you could go scroll down here, and you could see this link. See this? Link href. Yeah, this is the link CSS file that you would need. So just scroll all the way and just copy this. Copy and go here to your file and go to the index.html file. Go all the way up here, and you see over here that we have, let's say, let me just show you this path. I'm in an index.html. Now you see over here we have the head. See this head? Where's the closing? Here. Now you would have to just add the link over here somewhere on top of the title. Just put it on top of the title and just paste it. So you see that I just pasted there. Some things that are might making you annoyed as these comments, I'm just gonna remove them. They have some important information, but we don't need it right now. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna delete those comments, and I just showed you that I imported that a CSS file, and let's just delete all that as well. Um, okay. So now what we have, one other thing is we have this JavaScript file as well. I mean JavaScript code that we need to include. This script. Okay. Script source. So just get this, copy, and just include it before the body. So right there before the body, you just need to include it right there. Save. Okay, so now you have the script source as well, and now you're able to use Bootstrap in your web application. Make sure that your app is working fine. There's no errors. You could also go to the inspect, and you could go to the console, and you could see over here. There shouldn't be any errors. You could see download the React Dev Tools for a better development experience. And just asking me to download this thing. I don't know. But whatever. Now what we have is we have to include a nav bar like what we were doing. We were gonna delete this, so I'm just gonna go side by side. Remember, like that. And let's go to the nav bar section. So remember, this is really ugly. Let's delete all of this again. So delete, and boom, it's gone. Now let's go navbar, and let's go all the way down. And this is a really nice navbar over here. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna copy some navbar that we might think it looks good. So let's go here and see. Well, I like this one, so we're just gonna copy this entire thing. Press this button, go here, and let's just paste it right here. Okay, so I'm just gonna maximize the screen, and I'm just gonna paste it in here. Paste. Oof. Okay, that's a lot of code. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna zoom out a little and see what's the issues. There are some red underlines. Now this input has this underline, right? What the problem is, what you're gonna have to do is wherever you're having React, they actually need a closing tag. So include these forward slash at the end, okay? And then over here we have HR. Include this forward slash at the end so that the error is gone. Other than that, I think that's perfect. One extension that I would recommend, all my viewers is I'll go over here in the extensions tab and type in prettier. I love this extension. It just formats the code. So this one is pretty amazing. Just install this, and it should be installing. Okay, done, and I guess it's activated. So there, and it just automatically formats my code, just a code formatter, and then whenever I save it, it just formats the code. So, this is the navbar. I know it didn't format right now, but let's see, tab one, tab two. Okay, now I could see that this navbar is there. Does that exist in my website? Let's view and see if it works. So if I go here, in my, let's say, React app, and scroll down. Oh wow, we have a nav bar, and that looks really nice. We have this nav bar which has nav bar, home, link, drop down, and it has some drop down and disabled button, and even a search box. Pretty amazing. With just a little bit of bootstrap, we got all of this, which is pretty amazing. And we just needed to do this. Okay, so we could change up the nav bar, text over here. Let's say nav bar, you could include your own text. Let's say my website. Okay, and just save it, and then my website changed over there. You could have this home. You could you could remove these extra things. If you don't want the drop down, you could remove that as well. So let's see, we have the search box, which I think might be useful in the future, so we just leave that there. But let's say like other things we could just remove out. So drop down button right there. So let's say anchor list item drop down. Okay, so this is the list item, list item, list item. So say clasp. I think it's this one. So there's this navbar toggler. Where is this coming from? So what I think is unordered list. Okay, so there are some. So actually, what's happening is that there is this collapse navbar collapse thing. Okay, and then there is this nav item, list item, list item. Okay, and then there's this link. Okay, and then there's this list item. So all of these are just items. This is a drop down one. So I'm just gonna remove this from here, and I'm gonna remove it till this one. And you'll see all of these disappearing. So this drop down and disabled will be disappearing. I'll delete this and save it. Now you can see that that is gone and the search is still there, which I think is pretty better. And then you could just change it right there to the body tertiary. You can see the color change to, let's say, light, or you could say dark. If I do dark, this is just adding some code which allows you to just change up the, let's say, the navbar style. Okay, so I'm gonna change up the navbar style a little bit. Let's say the body, which is expand a body navbar dark. So what we're gonna do is expand LG, and we're gonna type in navbar. We're just making it a little dark color. I don't like the little dark, so I'm just saying navbar dark. And now you can see it totally disappeared. So I'm gonna say BG. So BG, and then we have dark, like that. And now you can see that the nav bar is dark color. Pretty amazing. And I like this new type of style. If you also, minimize it, it's also responsive. So there's no need to, worry about how to make the thing responsive at all as well. So also one other thing that I want to tell you is that we could also change up the color of the button. Let's say this is a green color button, right? You could change the color button to something else. So this is actually a success button over here on the bottom. This is thing. So success button, right? So if I just scroll here, and right now you can't see the button. So this is the button right there, green. So I could change the button to a different color using, let's say, the success is actually by default green for Bootstrap, but you could also change it to, let's say, primary. And if I change that, you can see now it changed to primary, which is blue. Again, all of this is included in Bootstrap. Any questions so far? And we're going to move on to components because we're going to actually reuse some components to create something. So I'm going to create some different type of components and maybe use a text form to input some text and other things. So we're not going to include just a navbar, but let's add in some other components. So we're going to go here and we might add in, something like, let's say, button. So I could add in a button as well. So just type in this and this would include that. Oh yeah, one other thing that I forgot to mention, whenever you're using React, is that you might be seeing that the code is working really amazingly, right? Let's go here, and it's working. There's no problems. But if I go to the console, it's going to be screaming so many errors. So let's see. Um, let's see over here. Let's go to the console there. Oh my God. Now, what it's saying is that, what do you mean by class? What did you mean by class name? The problem is, whenever you include HTML, remember I told you this is not HTML code, this is JSX code, a little bit different. So to treat it as JSX, what you would have to do is change the class to class name. Go to Control F and just scroll, you could go here, down, and just replace class to class name equal. So, uh, class name equal, and just replace all using this button. And now that, error, that dirty error should be gone as well. Okay, so I didn't save the file, I guess. So once I save the file and rerun the code, it should, work. Might be like somewhere else that the class name is being used, but right now I think it's perfect. So all we have to do is rerun sometimes you just gotta rerun the application. So let's just go here. What's happening here? Oh my God. Okay, so I'm just gonna rerun the application here. I'm gonna use Control C. Control C. It just terminates it. CLS, and then we just do npm start again, and boom, it works again, and it's gonna. Yeah, there you go. So, any questions so far? I would love to see no errors over here anymore. Um, drop down your questions. Oh my God. Okay, so I worked use word wrap in VS Code. Yeah, I like that. I love that compliment. I need to use that. Word wrap is actually a really better extension. Just allows us to see that. I think it's over here, but I might not have it enabled. Let's go here, and I think it's a view, or maybe it's an edit word wrap or something. But I might need to find it. I don't know where it is. Selection view, word wrap. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, I like this that it just shows you all the code in that single, page. It doesn't, overflow it. So there you go. Word wrap is enabled. Um, Now, Advanced Gamer is having a really great time, and what we have is why use Bootstrap? You should use basic CSS. Again, I said CSS is, I would say, preferred for complexity. I would say if you want a flexible application, it allows you to code a little bit more change, but to save time, just use Bootstrap. And for a beginner, I would recommend you could use anything you want. And also, what happened? Why we don't Why we don't build e-commerce store, which is real world projects. Now, we're gonna build, but actually we're limited in time, so we could do this in another event. You could tell me, I'll send my Discord server link over there. You could always chat with the community members, and I plan different events every single month. So we could have, let's say, JavaScript in one, and maybe React in another event, and maybe let's say Django in another event. And it doesn't really mean that we're just gonna talk about the intro basics. We could also create projects, because if you look at my previous events, I've been creating projects. So and we could create maybe a project-based series on maybe a web application, or like what you're saying, an e-commerce store, because I created an e-commerce store using Django. So if you want that in React, it depends on you. So you guys just tell me if you're interested, and I'll be happy to create one, right? I could create maybe a live stream event, or maybe video based, whatever you would like on YouTube. So now we're done with this. Remember I told you that we use that, and the nav bar is there. But let's look at different components, and let's see if we could get. How many members do you have? Well, we have the let's say the members are over here, and then there's so many members, let's say on first the YouTube, and then we have Discord, and we have the Code Academy community. I believe it's above 200 plus, so we have a significant amount of members. And on the Discord server, I recommend to checking it out. Um, so what we're going to do is we're going back here. So this is our React app, and what we're going to do is we have the nav bar. We added it, but I wanted to add in a button. You can see that these are different buttons. You could also add that, and it's pretty simple. Just go here and go to the React.js. Here's this JSX fragment that I told you. On the bottom, you could just say div.container. I just added a container, and inside of it, I could just type in button. Okay. Let's say button.btn. Now I'm using some btn hyphen primary. Now I'm using some, let's say, what is it called? Bootstrap. And this is gonna just show me my button. And let's say, hi, let's say click me. Okay, click me. This is a click me button. Now you can see over here. Go back to where my app is being hosted, and there you go. Look how ugly this looks like, but this is the button. Now, people might hate it. Why is it appearing like that? Because I actually added it in a container. I could remove that container as well. So I could just remove that container like this. And then that would be, placed over there on the left side. But I want it a little bit separated from the nav bar. It's just touching it, right? I don't want it to do that. So what you could do is you could add in something called it's called a class name in Bootstrap, which is called margin y, and you could specify how much margin you want to give. So I'd say 3 margin y. Now, if I did that, you could see that the button went down. If I say margin y 10, you could see actually it doesn't work, but margin y 5, so it went a little bit more down. So you can see that you could control the margin from y-axis as well as x-axis. For margin x, you would just say margin x. Okay. So margin y is for now. Why did I do that? Okay. Save it. Now this is how we included this button. It's dummy button. It doesn't do anything. But like I gave you the picture. We could add in different components from Bootstrap and include it in our React project. But this is not a really nice way to do it, because what if I have more than one component? Let's say if I added another component. Let's move and get another. Let's create a form. I want actually a text. Let's say text input. I'm actually looking for a text input. Helpers, utilities. Icons, about. What I'm looking for is actually text input, color modes, form, text form. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Text input group. I'm just searching. Okay, okay. There. This is the thing that I'm looking for. This thing. Username, large. Um, Somewhere we just add in a bunch of text form. I'm trying to look for that. So these are the different examples that you could view and just copy in. So I'll just copy in one. I'll show you how it looks like. So this is really good structure how it looks like, and you just include it with the code. And like I said, it's not a really good practice to do this, but just paste it in. Now it would have a lot of bunch of errors, but I'm just gonna fix them. So you can see over here that there's this thing, um, and I could just tab it. Okay. But what's happening here is that you have this error with the input line. Okay, so what happens is that we gotta have to add this forward slash over here, like that. Other than that, oh yeah, so it's actually over there. And then you have over here, and then you have over here. Again, this is something that you just have to consider when you're using React. Make sure that all these self-closing tags are closed with the, closing tag. What's happening here with this div is that there's this input, which is a self-closing tag, but it's not closed properly. And then there's this other input, and it's not closed properly. Okay, now the error is gone. And I guess all the errors are gone. And you could see now this form thing is appearing in the app as well. Oof, oh my God. This is username, recipient's name, and this is not looking that great, right? I want it centered. How do I get this centered? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this inside of a div. That div is called container. So that's another thing that's available on Bootstrap. So you just say container, okay, and just wrap this around. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna do this. I'm actually gonna get this div, the closing div, cross it out, and I'm gonna find the closing place over here. So this is the place where it closes, and paste it right there. Now this is actually in a good div container, and now it's centered. Wow, it is centered, right? But one thing that we want is we want to remove this button, which is really ugly. So we could just remove the button from there, which is this one, button remove, and there. And now you can see that this is actually looks like a form. Okay, now there's one problem here. You can see that the username thing is, being constricted from the top. Remember, I could tell you margin Y again from Bootstrap. You could do that. But yeah, you could, let's say, so what we have here is a div container, and this div container contains this. But you could actually say margin Y again. So margin Y, and then say 3. Now it gives a separation from the, why did I open that? So separation from the navbar. You see that little bit of separation? You're going to include, let's say, a header. So let's say H2. Enter enter your information. Save. And now you can see that this header came over here, enter your information, and it has all this username and all that. And whenever you place all your information, you would like to have a submit button at the end. So then you could just add in a submit button, like uh, let's say like this. So I would say again, if you want to include a button, just type in button. But I'm using mh, so I could do button hyphen primary. Okay, if I do this, I just get a button, and I can say submit like that. Save it, and it should pop up. And now you could see over there, it's basically squished over there. To do, uh, you know, make it a little centered, you could just add in a container on top of it, just like how we did with the others. So container, and just place this thing. So alt. So actually, I could just place it like that, and this should center it right there, with the form. So right now you can see that, you could add in your username, recipient's email. Um, we have this, which is your vanity URL, then dollars, username, password. This is your text area. Generally, you would like to input text over here, long form text. So, a person could just enter so much text, and then you could just process the text. We could create like a text processor, like you could make things capitalized or lowercase with this, component. So, any questions so far before we move on to the last phase of our event? I guess we have just like 10 minutes left. For those of you who would like to leave, it's totally okay. But right now I'm just going with extras at the end. If you have any questions, please drop them down, and I'm happy to address them. If you'd like to stay a little bit longer, awesome. It's amazing for you guys. So just let me know. So what we have here is some questions. So what we have is, okay. I mean, this guy, Advanced Gamer, wow. You're um spamming the chats, but okay, so what we have, we don't build e-commerce stores. How many members do you have? Okay, I already did that. Discord would be great. Okay, I'm sending the Discord server right now. Let me just send it right now. So what we have here is a Discord server, and you can join it. It's totally free. Also, one other way to do that is actually go to the YouTube channel. So you're on the YouTube channel, right? So go to Coding Cleverly's main website. So go to Coding Cleverly, which is, you could also go to Coding Cleverly's website, why I created. But you could go here, and there's this Patreon link. I mean, the Patreon link is there. For those of you who would love to support, I'd be happy to, you could just become a member, and you could get so many exclusive benefits and all that. Um, so I'd love to have you as a Patreon, anyone. So what we have here is the Discord server link, which is there. And this is the Discord server link. I'm gonna copy this and we're gonna paste it there. So I'm gonna include it. I'm just losing my links, man. I have so many tabs open. But yeah, let's say Discord. Okay, so video please. I'd like to go back over the information. And yes, Discord server would be great. Yeah, I send it. I send it. Um, would you mind if you would if I know do you work now in a software developer or still student? Well, I'm actually freelancing right now, so I'm a freelance software developer. Currently, applying for jobs as well. So, um, I love learning new technologies as a passion. Christy, the video will be available after the session ends, I think, and you can go over. Yep, you can always go over the videos. You could go to the YouTube channel, and I would recommend subscribing if you're already not, and then go to the playlist and also the live section. The playlist is just for those of you who are interested in learning programming. You could go with the Python playlist, amazing for beginners. C++, Java, I have all of them. So we go here in the live section and you can see all the past recordings. So we have Django, we have machine learning, we have data science in Python, some amazing, interesting topics. And the one that you would see, the React one, would be this one. So you just click on it and you can watch as much as you would like. Okay. And then we have remove this person sending repeatedly useless emojis. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you could do it, but I think I had that to do. So I could remove this person right here. So hide you. Yeah, so I'm just removing it. I mean, I think I removed the message. I could add a hide user on this channel. Let's say I could actually add you as the a moderator. I didn't even know, so I could add you as a moderator. Managing moderator can manage block words and change chat modes and live and also capabilities. I could have done this in our different type of events, but let's do in the future. So can review and remove chat messages and hide users in timeout. So I could add you as a moderator right now. I just did. So it doesn't really matter. Maybe in the future we do this kind of feature. And yeah, I like. I just meant for future projects that he was talking about live or YouTube video for next time. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I see. My bad. Yep, that's uh a good suggestion. Okay, so advanced gamer, you should be deleted now, I guess. Now I blocked that spam comment person. I don't know those comments anymore, but I don't know where he came from, but I sent the Discord server link. Rate my game. Which game do you have? But let's remove this guy. I mean, put user in timeout. We could do that. So what you gonna build, dude? I think I'm gonna do cause it's useless lessons. I don't want to waste time in useless lesson. Okay. Um, what do you mean by build? Because what we actually did was just get our project up and running. I tried to teach you the basics of what React is, how it actually works, and all that. So creating an application right now could take me, let's say, an hour or two, and I think that wouldn't uh, be suitable for everyone because a lot of people don't have that much time. But if you would like to see me creating web applications, I could create video tutorials on that. But in live sessions, I could also do that. But the event timing might have to stretch from, let's say, instead of 1 hour, and it would have to go to 2 to 3 hours because an application takes some time to create, right? It doesn't happen in an hour or so. So if you want more events just like this or something more advanced, creating a web application, I would encourage you to stick along, being subscribed, and become a part of the member community, and checking future event or announcements and all that in the Discord server. So if you go to the Discord, I hope you guys are joined. So if we go to the Discord server, we'd have announcements of whenever something is happening. So let me just go here. And this is the Discord server link, and I hope that some people are invited. So we could see that some people already joined in. Amazing. So what we could do is first, I would recommend going here. Once you join, you'd have to verify it yourself. So just verify here, and then you would be unlocked all these channels. You could introduce yourself here. I'd be loving, to have all of your inputs here. Chatting over here. Announcements is the channel where I'm going to be announcing amazing things. So right now I launched some free cheat sheets for SQL. You could get those, Django, and all these updated events that come in. I just send them in announcements. Links have some useful community links. I have some amazing community members who are doing great jobs. And I shout out to Sly. I really like this demand. And then we have different playlists that you could go over and watch review your concepts. New videos are being uploaded here. Live streams are going to be updated here, so you can have April live stream, May live stream, and all this. So March live stream. All the links are available on the Discord server. It's a really nice spot. General here, chat about, help others, and build this community. I really want you to learn and earn. That's it. That's the objective. So all that, without all of that, no, let's just go back to our application. And I think I did address all the answers. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to the app, um, which is over here. Okay, what we have here, I don't want to. You should tell us what you're gonna build. The live title is gonna build project. Then um, actually, the title, build your first project. Now the project is actually this. You know what a project is. This is actually a React project. So let me just make it a little better. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna improve something. Just hold on, man. Don't get angry. Chill, man. So um, let's go back to this application. I know this you don't like this. Let's change it up and make it a little better. For those of you who have time, you could just stick around, okay? But we just have like I'd say 5 to 10 minutes more. Not going that long, but um, going just that much. So what we're gonna do is, okay, I think I'm connected. I'm just connecting with my laptop. Okay, so I'm gonna remove all these components I don't like. I only like the nav bar, but I don't like the other components that I added, like this text information one. It's too much. So I'm just gonna delete all that there and save it. Now I just have this navigation bar. So what I want is actually a text form. So a text form is basically something that allows me to enter text. Okay, so to get this, I could add in, let's say, this is some bootstrap code. So I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it here. So I have some bootstrap code here. And this is just going to give us an error. Why? Because this is not allowed like this. So there's going to be some things that we got to have to address. So I'm just going to remove this, I guess. This is not required. And where's this error coming in? So we have div. This is closed here. Capitalize. I guess we just have to remove this as well. Okay, so now we have some issue which is text is not defined, handle on chain is not defined. Okay, to address this, what we have is we're gonna have to do this, remove this, and we have to remove this as well. Okay, so now I think we have a text box, but there's nothing in here, right? So let's just put it in a container. So I'm gonna put in a div container. I'm gonna say div dot container. Come on, man. I think I enabled prettier, but I don't know. Let's see, go to the extensions. Prettier. It's disabled. Disabled. Oh, I think I have to enable. Okay, now it's enabled. Okay, so now what we're gonna go here, and I'm gonna do a div container. So div dot container, just to make it centered align, the text area, and just place in this text. So I just go here. I could just select this, okay, and I could go Alt, and it just brings it up here. So it's inside of this. Save, and this should be centered. Okay, prettier. Okay, so now what we have is this div container, and it's centered, right? We have it centered. Right now, before it was expanding on left and right. Now what we could do is we could put a margin. I'm putting all these just show you that how it would look like. So let's put a heading as well. So let's put a heading right in the class name, MB, and right in the class name, let's put a heading on top of it in the div container. So let's say heading 2, and let's say uh, your information. Okay, enter text. Let's say enter text. So now you see enter text, and then there's a place to enter text. Amazing. We could also now let's say center it. Now you can see that it's just a little bit from the top. So you could put in let's say a margin, but yeah. So MB3. So this is the margin 3, and let's put some buttons. So let's put here, this is a div, and let me put some buttons. So I'm now a little bit rushing because we don't have time. So I'm just copy pasting some code, and I'm going to show you a little bit of what an application would look like in React. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in some buttons here. So let me just copy some buttons, text area. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. So some buttons here would look like this. Okay. Okay, so now why is this having an issue? It's saying up handle and on click handles were not existing. Because I already have these issues, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this first. I'm actually going to just include one button for now. Okay, so I'm not going to include the second one. And why this is happening is that because we have this on click issue. On click is basically a method that would be addressed. Now you can see over here we have capitalized the text inside of a button here. Um, so what's the problem here, and how do we address this? Now the thing is we could actually include all of this in a component folder. You know, so because I'll tell you one thing, this entire thing is a component. This, text box and this capitalize the text and this heading is one component. This navbar is another component. Now, what React allows us or encourages us to do is create these separate components, and this is the problem of having so many different components. Once you have like a full application, it would be so hard to manage because you'd have to have a component here, a component here, a component here, and it would just go on, and the file would be just too long, right? To have it managed and synchronized, let's have a source folder. Inside here, we'll create a components folder. So I'm just going to type it in. So components folder, components, okay? And inside the components folder, we'll have one other folder about the different type of components that we'll do. The first the component that we made was a navbar, right? So we'd say navbar.js. That's it. What we're going to do is we're going to have an extension installed. This is going to help us, write faster code. So the extension is called ES7. If I search that, there's this one which is Redux native. And no, it's not this one. I think it's another one. So let me go back here. Um, anyone has questions so far? Anyone, you could just let me know. But what the extension that I'm looking for is, I think it's gonna be over here somewhere. Redux. I'm actually looking for GraphQL. GraphQL. Where are you? Yeah, this one. So install this extension. There you go. And then what it allows me to do is, I think it's enabled. So, oof, install. Oh man, I uninstalled it. It's disabled, so I'm gonna enable it. Why is it disabled? Okay, just enable it. So now I think it's enabled. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back here in the app.js, and we have this component, right? This ugly looking component, and then there's another ugly looking component. There's so many components. We synchronize them and put them in different component folders. So this is a one single component folder, and inside there's a node.js. Okay, what we're gonna say is RFC. We're gonna type in. Man, my thing doesn't work, but RFC. If I say RFC, React Functional Component, and press enter, this actually populates my code with this code, which just allows me to create a React functional component. And inside this, I would just have to include the navbar, which makes it a little more easier. So if I go here, and if I find the navbar, which is this, and it goes down all the way to what? This thing, right? So just copy all of this, um, and just cut it. So, and just paste it here. Okay, and save it. Cool. And if we go back here, now we have this navbar. And if I go back to the app, right, my app is still running. But what's going to happen is that the app no longer shows me the navbar. It's gone. And it just shows me this text form. Now I'm going to put this text form in another component folder as well. So here we have components and we have navbar. Let's add in another component. Let's see, add, and I'm going to call it as text form. Okay, so let's say text form. .js. Okay, and in the text form, let's do an RFC again, React Functional Component. Again, we could now add in. Now, what is happening is this is because of my extension, and you could also see that it knows the name of the file, beauty of the extension. And now we could add in the text form component that we created. Where was the text form component? Remember that we created this container, and then we had enter text. Remember this thing? So we could add this as a component as well. So there's this thing, and I'm just gonna remove all this. So you know what? I'm just gonna remove all this, and only that RFX, this JSX, fragment thing is only there. So it just looks like that. Okay. So to get that component, what we're gonna do is we could add, one thing. I wanna synchronize my laptop again. I wanna copy one thing. Okay, perfect. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the text form component, which is in this return. And we're just gonna copy and paste it here. So okay. And now I know I'm gonna have a ton of errors. But let's see right now. Okay, so now what we have is If you look back to the app, it's gonna be blank. Okay. The problem is we're having some errors and saying prop or what. We passed in props or something like that. We shouldn't do this because we're not actually using them right now, but we'll be using them. So over here we have navbar, but in the text form, oh, I think we added that navbar there. RFC or control Y, control Y. Okay, so what we had it is a navbar, RFC, and inside this navbar we put in the navbar component, which was um, this thing. Copy and paste this navbar component here. Okay, so now this is the navbar component, and we could just save it like that, and it should pop up like um, here. So right now they're still showing me the errors. The reason why is that because I have some issues, and I'll address all these issues. Just hold on, okay? The problem is that over here in the title, I have this props thing. I'm gonna tell you what props are. Another concept in React. So just call it hello world. Okay, just change that. If I have yeah, I have another props, so I'm just gonna say hey or hey. Okay, and another props could be somewhere over here, nowhere. Yeah. So I guess now it should give me something clean. Okay, so let's go back to my app, and I'm just gonna rerun it because it sometimes gets stuck. The so I'm just gonna Control yes, Control C, and run the application again, npm start, and it should run into another instance again. Okay, now perfect. See, it's just blank. So that's exactly what I had to do because I just not right now I didn't import any component. So to import the component, what you would do is go back to your app.js, and over here, what you would do instead of all this, app.js, yeah. So instead of all this random stuff that you'd put, I don't know why I added this. You would include just your simple component. So if you wanted to use the navbar component, you could just type in navbar. So you'd say navbar, okay? And that should include this line, import navbar from components. And you could just close it like this, or another way to do it is like self-closing tag like that. and and you have your navbar back in there. So now you use it through navbar components. You can see I changed the text to hey. What was here was normally, hello world, and then we had hey, which was the name of, the nav item. So let's say about. Okay, so just the website page name. So that should be, cleared there. So about, if I expand it, you'd see now we have hello world, which was the name of the app. So like website name and about. So you could go to the about page. And now you could use the other text component, which is the text form. I didn't add it right now, but let me add it. So let's go to the text form and just add it in the component. I remember that there are some dependencies that I would need to add in. So I'm just going to remove this div thing and add in my, JSX fragment thing. So, and paste in this thing. And now you could see. Now, I didn't actually import it right now. There's going to be issues because there's some on-click handling errors. So I'm just going to copy this entire thing. So I'm just going to explain it one by one. Okay. So now what we're going to do is just import it. So we'd say um, just include it. Just like how we did navbar, we could do, what is it? Text form. So text form. Okay. And when I entered it, you can see the text form component is also added. And then we could enclose it like that. And there you go. We have some text form. We have some buttons as well, but there's some code that's not working properly, and I'll show you how we could adjust it. Go to the text form place. I'd have some handling methods and all that. I'll provide this source code. You know what? For those of you who are still watching the stream, let me go back to the live stream. If you have any questions, you could drop. Okay, it was like our vision of the topic. Um, your live tab is you gonna build project and then he changed his mind. Uh, okay, Uzma, if you have any questions, just let me know. You could always address them, and yeah, Just leave them here. If you have any questions so far in the event, feel free to leave them. I'd be happy to ask. It could be anything related to React, JavaScript, or anything in programming. General questions. You could just write them down. We're almost closing the session. Um, just leave your comments or anything about the session. What did you think about it? Was it productive? How was it? It was pretty much beginner friendly. I just wanted to open the world of React to you guys, right? It was just about how to get started in React, what it is, how to import it, how to install it, how to get it running, all of that. I know people wanted some projects. I love that because I'm actually a project type person as well. I love doing projects. Whenever I ever want to learn something, I would create a project out of it, and that's the nice way to go. But because we were short in time, so we couldn't do that. But maybe we could do that in the future. Why not just join the community and actively participate and tell in the general section of the Discord, you could always let me know what information you'd like to do. You could also DM me on Discord, so I'll be happy to know about what you're interested in. Anyways, other than that, we have this button. What I wanted to place is this text form inside somewhere. Let's say it's centered. You could so right now I'm just coding it, but you could leave in your questions, any general questions. I'm closing the session right after like 5 minutes or so, but you could just leave the questions there. I'll be happy to address them. Right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna center the text form here. So see over here that the text form is here, but it's not centered, right? So if I go to the app.js, you could see this text form is there. I could put it in a div container. So if I go here, say div.container, and I love this piece of code. So what we're gonna do is alt and bring it in here. And now if I save it, and if I go back to the app, you can see now it's centered. Amazing, right? And then you have this app which is actually working. It's pretty much working. This is an actual application. What that person wanted. What so we have is you could enter your text. Suppose I'll say, hey there, we are learning. Now you can see what's happening. You can see that there are 17 characters, 4 words. You can read in approximately this much. The preview of the text is that we are learning React. Okay. And if I press an exclamation mark, you could see that the preview of the text is there. You could read it in this much minutes. There are 32 characters for this text, as well as 6 different words. So one, two, three, four, five, six. Amazing. If I press the clear button, it clears the text. Amazing. If I go back, say, no, I can't go back, but hey there. Um, I love to let's see, to code in React. Okay, let's just type it like that. If I want to capitalize the text, I press this, and all of them are capitalized in a second. If I want to lowercase all the text, you could just lowercase it using this button. Pretty interesting, right? We could add in more functionality. Let's say copy the text, or maybe split the text into different things, or remove all the spaces and all that. We could add this. You could call it a text formatter. Online text formatter. We could just create a text formatter application just like that. So the thing is, how this is working is that we have some functions, and I just wanted to show you the functions. We have this handle up click, handle low click, and handle clear. So these are functions in React. What we use is this is called the arrow function, okay? And it's so simple. What we happen is that this button has this on click method goes to the handle up click. So what happens is that if we use a function, what happens to the function is, I mean, sorry, in this handle up click, if we have this console log, this is just going to show that we press this upper click button. We capture the text using text.toUppercase, using this useState function from import React useState from React, and we use this const text set text useState. Enter your text here. This text is by default. If I refresh the app, enter your text here is actually default text, okay? And that default text is basically being entered using this useState. Enter your text here, and it's being rendered here. So you can see over here value is text, so that's why it's being rendered. But the problem is you're gonna have to include this on change handle on change to manually have to update the code. So it changes the thing. Make sure you have this. I'll provide all of this in the Discord server. So I'll create a package zip file and I will zip it into this server announcements. So let me just do it right now. So we have more members. Amazing. So we'd go to the let's say the resources, useful resources. And over here, you can see some of the previous resources that I've sent. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a zip file. Let me just do it right now. So let's go here and Oh yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna delete the node modules. I told you this before. I'm deleting it. Oh man, it takes so much time. I just don't like that. Other before until I wait, I could just waiting for problem. So any questions so far? I'm just gonna look into the chat. Okay. Okay, so I see that there's a ranch. Okay, good and nice. It was good for me as a beginner in React who has some knowledge for JavaScript. Awesome. Would be happy to be a part of the community too for future discussions. Inshallah. Yeah, inshallah, man. Yes, do project-based. Oh, yeah, perfectly. Would be. I'd love to do project-based tutorials. It was good for me too. I'm a beginner and never knew about React, so this is something I'll have to go back and follow through to check things out hands-on. I got lost part of the way, so it's totally okay. You're most welcome to check out the things or problems whatever you faced. And I'd love to have you on the community. You're all welcomed and try to help each other out. Everyone is learning there, and the more you help out, the better it will be. And I love project based, so this is my type. If you love project based coding, subscribe to Coding Cleverly because I got you there. Now what we have here is we have this handle on click, right? I deleted that, and what I had to do was actually I had to save this. I just forget. So I have to zip this. I'm gonna go to and I'm gonna have to create this RAR file. So what I could do also over here, I think was compress to zip somewhere over here. Compress to zip file. So just compress it, my app.zip, and let me just save it and share it to you guys. Here, upload a file, and I think we go here and my zip, and let's say resource from the React event. Okay. So once you have this installed, just download it here, pretty easy. And you could also leave a thumbs up once you have it installed, okay? So you could just leave that there. Okay, so what I wanted to do now was actually I deleted that node modules folder, right? Oh, it does exist. It still exists because of my app is running, and whenever I do npm install, it would work. So it just captures this, text and uses two lowercase to lowercase the text. Two uppercase. I mean, two uppercase would uppercase the text, and two lowercase would lowercase the text. The clear function we just set text clear, and this is a concept called states in JavaScript. We use these states to manage the state of the the component. And also there's things called props. So a prop is something like you could see over here, which is being passed in. So you can see this props over here. So see that? And then we have like what is a prop? So let's see, prop.heading. We have a heading. And what else is a prop? Text.length. I mean that's not a prop, but prop.heading, props.heading, and I think there's nothing else. So if I just double click props, okay, and then there's just props right there. So just props is the heading, and you could go here in the text form, and you could just say um, heading. What was the name of the prop, right? And you could say my website. Okay, I'm not gonna save right now, and I'm gonna show you that there's this app. Okay, there's so many issues right now. I don't know why, but I'm gonna have to recheck that. Let me just restart this. Okay, yeah, it worked. Awesome. So what we have is we have hello world right now, right? So I passed in this my website. I don't know. I think it's the text over here, maybe on the top or whatever. But I'd save this, and it would change the state, and it would change it to my website somewhere or not. But yeah, props are basically used to manage the state of a content or anything. I think you're past the time and I'm going overtime. So thank you so much for joining this event. I hope you learned something out of this. I provided the source code and all that in the Discord server. I'd encourage you to, if you would like, become a part of the Patreon membership for Coding Cleverly. So we have exclusive benefits I would only give my Patreons. You could just purchase any one of these tiers, backer, supporter, or investor. And once you join it, you unlock all these exclusive things. And then there's so many cheat sheets, exclusive videos I only have for my Patreon. And there is so much support as well I provide for my special members. And other than that, thank you so much for tuning in. See you next time and have a great time. Keep coding. Bye bye, everyone. End stream.